What is going on, guys? It is the Anime Jaguar here, or call me AJ for short if that is a tongueful for you. And today, I'm going to rank all 24 Pixar movies with the release of Luca on Disney+. And if you guys want to see another Pixar video I've done after this, it'll be up here or in the link description below. Let me know your ranking of the Pixar movies you've seen, or if you've seen all of them, all of the Pixar movies. Let me know your ranking in the comments down below, and let's begin.
Cars 2. It's a seriously embarrassing film that Pixar has to have attached to its history, and they're still trying to spark of effortless filmmaking that came pre-Cars 2. And they're starting to get better, but they're still kind of in that phase. And I'm convinced that Cars 3 only exists to make us entirely forget about this. The State Farm parody jingle alone will always haunt me. And I'm just rambling at this point. This is an awful movie. Do not watch it. Cars 3. It's a huge improvement from Cars 2, but that doesn't mean anything. Cars 3 brought the trilogy back to Radiator Springs. This should have been Cars 2. It has decent animation, delightful racing sequences, and a profound tribute to Paul Newman's role in the first Cars feature. Even with that, Cars 3 still has a tolerable screenplay, a feeble plot, and forgettable characters. I would only recommend Cars 3 to people who love the first Cars. The Good Dinosaur. I'm going to start off with what I liked about The Good Dinosaur. It's excellent with its comedy and emotional moments. It has stunning animated landscapes, and it's a simple story that is character focused. And that's the good things, and here's the bad. While it's strong in some moments, the story as a whole isn't memorable. Would I watch it again if I wasn't doing this ranking? No, I would not. It doesn't seem like it would have the rewatchability of some of Pixar's better films. Cars. Cars is a blustery story of a big city racer getting stuck in an old school rural city inhabited with several charming characters. The message about modesty and American nostalgia are straightforward and positive. This feature doesn't hit the emotional depth like the majority of Pixar films, but it's still good enough to watch more than once. Brave. This may not be the best Pixar movie, but Brave is still a delightful fantasy feature with a familiar plot, pleasant characters, and glorious animation from the best animation studio. If Brave looks interesting to you, check it out if you're looking for a good time. Before you watch Brave, lower your expectations and don't expect a masterpiece from Pixar. Monsters University. Monsters University is one of the more forgettable Pixar movies, but it has some brilliant animation. The plot and characters take some time to enjoy. If you adore Monsters Inc., you'll probably enjoy Monsters University as well. It is a triumphant prequel to Monsters Inc. Besides Randall's role in the feature, almost everything else makes sense while answering some questions that fans had. A Bug's Life. This may not be Pixar's best film, mainly due to its formulaic story and a boring main character, but it is still a fabulous feature for what it is. A Bug's Life has an immersive plot, delightful animation, and unforgettable characters. I encourage you to watch it if you love Pixar or if you want an entertained animated film. You need to watch it with the mindset that this was only Pixar's second movie. This was just a sneak peek of what Pixar was going to be in years to come. Luca. I will start off by saying that Luca is not the newest Pixar masterpiece. It isn't as experimental as Soul or as thought-provoking as Inside Out. It is a simple, pure coming-of-age movie, and I'm completely on board with that whenever Pixar is involved. Coco does it a lot better, but this time we get to dip our toes into Italian waters. While I am no expert on Italian culture, I do believe it is showcased well. What works better is the banter and overall friendship between the two main characters in the movie. The voice work is excellent as this cast is stunning across the board, but the dialogue is what allows the film to flow so good. The Incredibles. Brad Bird made a feature that is filled with stamina, cleverness, planet building, and an environment that is entertaining to be in. Bird went for a 60s James Bond vibe for the film while telling a modern day superhero story which makes the entire feature feel special. The story is about a family that is understandable while talking about superheroes. Brad Bird is amazing at making scenes that are exciting to watch and captured in a way that make you anticipate what could happen next. What makes this movie more personal to me is that this was the first movie I saw in theaters. Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is pretty great. My favorite part about it is the fact that for the first time in a long time, it doesn't feel like Pixar is trying to make us cry. They just decided to make a funny movie with a few valuable messages. Nothing that's going to leave us in tears like they have attempted to do in other sequels. Everything from the action sequences to the jokes to the animation. It's all super vibrant in every way. I will also say this is one of the funnier Pixar films. Jack Jack was great. Overall, I enjoyed it a lot, and I like rewatching this. It didn't need to happen, but I'm glad Pixar decided to take the fun route with it rather than trying to make us emotional. Finding Dory. While I am against Pixar's recent sequel phase that is slowly coming to an end, I think this film gets much more hate than it deserves. It is well done besides some of the excessive Nemo references in the beginning. I enjoyed it. This is easily the best non-Toy Story Pixar sequel, but you guys aren't ready for that conversation. Coming in at number 13, Onward. How is nobody talking about all the Indiana Jones references? There are a lot. This was great, even coming out of Pixar. The only reason why I think people say it's a generic animated kids movie is because of Chris Pratt being in it. Besides that, a lot of this feels original. It's honestly sad that the release was overshadowed by COVID, especially considering maybe it's the kind of movie that everyone needed at that time.
Number 12.
Soul. Soul is the textbook definition of one of a kind in that there's nothing textbook about it. From the look to the music and from the structure to the story itself, everything about this is completely fresh. Like watching a Pixar movie for the first time again, the film starts with high concepts and the adventure ends with 30 minutes left. Joe Gardner is both gifted and normal. Pixar started with a concept as broad as the purpose and stretched it using as many shapes, colors, textures, and sounds as they could, and as a result, they made one of the most clever animated
Number 11.
Ratatouille. This is an unusual story about a man being manipulated by a rat who's watching the spirit of the man's deceased dad. Somehow, Brad Bird takes that odd idea and makes this relatable movie about family and expectations that can be comedic at times. I don't rewatch this film as some other Pixar films, but it's extraordinary what Brad Bird was able to do with a strange vision.
Coming in at number 10.
WALL-E. It is unusual to find an animated film that goes above and beyond its powers. This movie not only set a new standard for animation, but for cinema in general. WALL-E is not only a classic Pixar feature, but it's also a classic all-time movie. Every component was made to be the best. The plot offers plenty of scope while telling a basic story. The animation is some of the best, thorough CGI of all time, and the characters have their own allure that makes them memorable and qualified to present the power of love. I recommend this to anybody. I was too young to watch this in theaters, but I did watch it as soon as it was released to DVD. The opening scene is saddening. The adventure in the middle is filled with pleasant characters and quotable dialogue. The main idea isn't completely about Nemo. It's actually about Marlin and his parenting. Marlin learns that caring for his son doesn't mean over-nurturing.
Number 8.
Monsters, Inc. This feature has some of the best on-screen chemistry between two characters. We also can't forget about the baby. Mike, Sully, and Boo are amusing to watch on their journey. Monsters, Inc. finds a way to investigate some principles that you can discover from. The main idea is that we need to focus more on the positive than the negative. Everything comes together to make an iconic film that makes for a Inside Out. This is the most expressive Pixar movie as it is about emotions. The main story about two opposites getting lost together and having to go back home has been done several times before, but what they do with it has never been done before. It is able to take all of these conceptual ideas about human emotions and visually convey them in a way that anyone can understand. Inside Out is a reminder to everyone how Pixar is one of the best animation studios of all time. Pixar makes features that include innovative stories that are immersing, intelligent animation, and memorable characters. Toy Story 2. This is a fantastic sequel to Toy Story. Toy Story 2 finds a way to inspect ideas of adolescence memories. A notable scene that shows that is when they show the background of Jessie. That sequence is a marvelous example of visual storytelling that makes you emotional. That is amazing because Jessie is only a toy and it makes the audience think about toys that they have had left behind. That is how you tell a story. Stinky Pete is a fantastic antagonist. He is the only toy that doesn't want to be played with. He is 100% on board with going to Tokyo, while all the other toys rebel against it. Everything has a purpose while making sense at the end. The first 10 minutes of this feature is an example of some of the best visual storytelling in cinema history. You find out everything about Carl and Ellie's connection and their distress. All of this is told without any dialogue. The rest of the movie has a strong sense of humor, unique characters, and explores the concept of remorse perfectly, while having an entertaining journey that's incredible at the same time. The rest of the film is not as good as the first 10 minutes, but it's still phenomenal. Toy Story 3. Before 2019, it looked like Toy Story 3 was going to join a short list of iconic trilogies. A few others would be Nolan's Batman trilogy, Lord of the Rings, and the original Star Wars trilogy. Eventually, Toy Story 4 was made as the perfect ending that no one knew they needed. But let's get back to Toy Story 3. The demographic for this feature is young adults. This is a great film about moving on. If you haven't seen it, what have you done with your life? If you have already seen it, watch it again. I'm always on the edge of my seat when I watch this movie again. I have found something new every time I rewatch Toy Story 3. 2019, Toy Story 4. I can see why Pixar made another Toy Story sequel. Toy Story 4 is a remarkable creation by Pixar, where they not only made a bewildering animated film, but they also managed to do the unthinkable by proceeding the story after making what seemed to be the perfect ending in Toy Story 3. It delivers an entertaining plot, beautifully intricate animation, new unforgettable characters, and several sentimental moments that will give you a roller coaster of emotions. This may surprise some of you, but this is a must watch. Even if you wish that there wasn't a sequel, you need to at least give it a chance. This is the best sequel that Pixar has ever made, and possibly even one of the best sequels of all time. It has great humor, great animation, and a lot of heart that didn't feel forced. It warmed my heart to know that if they want to capture the feeling of their classic films, it is possible. And nobody's talking about that. I feel like no one's talked about how good the score is. Full scenes where the emotions are fully driven by the music and barely any dialogue. This sequel just makes me happy every time I watch it. Number 2, Coco. After watching this feature, I had to take a moment to understand my emotions. Coco is a fantastic sentimental letter to Mexico that has a profound and immersing plot, well-composed animation, unforgettable characters, an important statement about family, and incredible songs. This is the perfect family film. This is perfect to watch with family in order to completely grasp the significance of family. This is one of Pixar's best. Number 1, Toy Story. Toy Story is not just a landmark for animation in Cinemark. It is the greatest animated movie of all time, in my opinion. This is the first computer-animated full-length feature. This film increased the standard of narrative and character assembling. The plot is fascinating with the way it shows the idea of the life of a toy. The characters are intricate and relatable. Finally, the animation may look ancient, but it still looks good 25 years later. You should watch it just for the historical significance alone. You can sit back and have joy watching the feature. You can't go wrong with Toy Story. Toy Story is one of a handful of anime movies that have changed animation. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Let me know what are some other videos you want to see on this channel, and don't forget to watch the other Pixar video you can find up here or in the link in the description below. Thank you for watching this ranking, and I'll see you in my next video.